another episode of Art Therapy. Today we have a very special show for you. We always got a special show for y'all. But today we got my good friend, one of my newest friends, Heaven Jones.
Hi everybody.
Thank you for coming.
No, I am too excited to be here today. The whole day, even the whole weekend, I was like, wow, I'm excited to talk with Jed. I feel like we have many passing chats and chats here and there on social media and whatnot, but to be in community and conversation and to get to see one of your pieces in front of me today, it's all the way down from Broward in Miami. Yep. I'm like, okay, this is super exciting. So thank you for reaching out to me and putting me in your plans. I appreciate that.
For sure, bro. Happy to have you. Mm-hmm. For those of y'all who don't know Heaven, she is a curator and creative director and overall phenomenal soul to be around. And she puts together some of the best shows, pieces, and collaborations with artists that I've seen. She's emerging right now. So if you don't know about her, you will know all about her today. So again, huge pleasure having you on the platform.
Thank you. I am, as we said, I am emerging. It's been a really crazy year. I hit 1 year as an artist, many years as a creative director, but my first year of really planting my seed as being a creative director in the art, contemporary art scene here in Miami. So it's truly a blessing, but it went by so fast. And for this to be, I guess, my coming out year, I was like, wow. Heavy hitter. Heavy hitter, okay? So I'm just I am genuinely excited to continue to push the bounds of what creativity looks like. And like how you said, I really do love collaboration. I feel like that's really been foundational in pushing the work forward. I've learned that I am a master of none. I'm a jack of all trades. I love reaching out to people who are masters of their crafts because I feel like with their vision and their artistry, they're able to bring a lot of things that I see in my mind to life. And I really appreciate the additional touches, the expansion of an idea and a concept. So I'm it's been really beautiful.
That's fire. So I want to ask, so what type of art really lights up your brain, Because every curator has to be opinionated. It's really to their particular tastes. And I noticed that there's a particular theme within the artist that you decide to work with, but just so the people can know.
Yeah, I love Southern and Caribbean art. My favorite type of art form is, it can vary, honestly. I feel like it can be sculptural, it can be video. I remember, if you guys don't know Roscoe is an amazing artist in Miami, and one day we were at a diaspora vibe show at Barry University, and he was like, what do you think makes an artist a good artist? And I was like, I just really think it's the story. What are you trying to tell and whatnot? I'm like, you can get any medium just to tell me your story. I just appreciate it, and I'm bringing me from beginning to end, even leaving me on a cliffhanger. I think that is really interesting and allowing my mind to wonder. And, I think it's really beautiful. I love poets. I love writers. I love sculpturists. I love, all of the above, filmmakers. So, painters.
That's fire. That's fire. So, Roscoe, for y'all who don't know, one day, hopefully, he'll be on the platform. Roscoe B. Thick is a contemporary artist, but he's also a jack of all trades. He decides not to stay within the confines of one medium, very interdisciplinary. I realize a lot of the artists that you work with are interdisciplinary.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But it's the idea of why stick to one medium if another one could possibly express it better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love mixed media art, honestly. So seeing your painting in front of me, I'm this is so interesting as well too, because there's just so many textures that you can come bring about in work. And whatnot. I do collages as well and do other forms of mixed media art. So that's something that really allows my mind to wonder. And there's just no limitations when it comes to work. But there's no limitations when you are a mixed media, multifaceted, multi-hyphenate artist.
Right. Yeah, man, for sure. It's a really big pleasure to be able to be a part of this South Florida art scene, especially starting to get a foothold and a community built you know, because like the Black Miami art scene is very thriving and everybody's very tight knit as well. Just yesterday, there was a talk at NSU Art Museum in which I work at as a security guard, and there was this panel held discussing, you know, the future of South Florida art, and Deja Carrington was moderating it, I believe, and a lot of really great Miami figures in the black art space, all black, all women, by the way, to have this panel. And also, unfortunately, I didn't get to go and see it because I was like patrolling the galleries and stuff. Yeah,
You're on the clock.
100%. But like after the event was over, I was able to just like interact with everyone and seeing how much support came through, like all the familiar faces that I saw just chopping it up. Like the Black Miami art scene, we know how to support each other, and there's a lot of really brilliant minds within it, man. So I'm really happy that both of us can take a part in it.
I'm happy. I'm happy to have a piece of the pie, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been really great, and I love Deja and Commissioner and Claudia. It's such an amazing group, and allowing individuals to build their collections of
Yeah.
art and artworks and whatnot. It kind of removes like the limitations or barriers of what it can look like to be a collector.
Right.
So I really do appreciate Deja and Claudia's work in the community. But the black artists here in South Florida are amazing and honestly so expansive.
Yeah.
The other night I was at Bakehouse, and it was a table of Arsimmer, Shayla, Ms. Vonta Black. It was just like, I was like, wow, amazed and taken back. And Ms. Vonta Shire, she was like, can I cuss on here?
I prefer not, but you feel me.
She was like, "This is a black table."
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say it like that. That's a clean. That's a clean version, y'all. This is
Uh-huh.
a black table, and I was just kind of like, she was like, no matter, and I was telling her, I'm like, no matter where you go, we're gonna find each other, whether you're black, Floridian, or you're from Miami.
Right.
We're gonna always find each other, and it's just really nice to see what the artists who are like kind of getting their ideas out and also like making a difference and letting people like me know it's possible. Like I told Ms. Bonta that 3 years ago I saw one of her pieces in Ulite, and now we're friends. And I was like, wow, that's so crazy. And that was the only piece that really caught my eye in the show, and I just stayed in front of it for a while. So I was like, yeah. Oh, I just stayed in front of it for a while.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, it's amazing.
That's great. Yeah. And I love Oolite. I love Bakehouse. Two of those are like my dream residencies. But just seeing everybody again come together and seeing how far everyone comes, and yet like, cause like I'm only just now getting like legs in my career.
Yeah.
But like seeing people around me, like Dimitri Victor, seeing Mark Delmont, and all like the praise and attention they get, like instead of like envy, because it could have easily went down to envy, like, oh man, what they got that I don't. It was more inspiration, because it's like it shows me that people that are right in front of me that are similar to me are achieving the things that I dream of. So like these things that I seek are possible. They're realistic. They're not like a pipe dream. And it takes you seeking out friends and spaces that are more aligned with your goals. You feel me? Because it's like high school me would never think any of this is conceivable, but I had to go and hunt down the environment that aligned with who I was becoming.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do understand what you mean. It's so funny. I was actually having a conversation recently about like, I guess like jealousy, and I was telling a friend about the complex that I walk around with, because that was like one of my major prayers. I guess like being in college or leaving college was to like not really feel the emotion of jealousy
Yeah.
and whatnot, and to kind of like interpret it in different ways. Like that is like one of my really heavy prayers, because sometimes you can look around at your position and see other people's position and be like, oh wow, I kind of want to be in their shoes, but it's like you got a whole garden that you
Right.
got to tend to,
Right.
and you thinking that these are weeds, but these are like flowers and crops that just need a little bit more tending in your own lane. So it's just kind of like that's something that I realized like early on. And I walk around this complex called like the Open Hand Complex.
Okay.
So essentially it's like everywhere I go, I can walk around with an open hand, and I allow myself to accept whatever I want. It's just any possibilities can come for me, but as long as my hand is open, I can turn it over and reject anything that I don't want. But if I
Right.
walk around with a clenched fist, and the clenched fist is essentially limiting beliefs then I won't accept anything. Anything that comes my way, I will never be able to actually realize what's in my hands because it's not there at all.
Right.
And whatnot. So I kind of walk around with that, trying to be open to the possibilities of what can happen in my life, and not really look over into others too much. Like
Right.
I say, admiration is
Yeah.
really a beautiful thing, you know. So, and that's how like collaboration is formed, I guess, through my work as well too.
Yeah, just seeing like what other people are capable of,
Yeah.
what they specialize in that completely is different from what you're great at.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like the artist and curator relationship is very important.
It is. Oh wow.
Bruh, like shout out to all the curators who are seeing this. Shout out to you. Shout out to Lauren. Lawrence, I saw her yesterday. She's freaking great.
She's
Trailblazer.
amazing.
I also met Clarence.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, Uncle Clarence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, Unc. Okay, Unc.
But it's such a very fascinating relationship that happens between curators and artists because like the curator is doing everything that they can to platform the artist and present them in a way
Yep.
and a light that highlights their biggest strengths. You know what I mean? And the artist is like the engine of it all. They just have their pure creativity. They just have their pure expression. And, you know, me being an artist, like sometimes I'm not really great with all of the structural stuff that goes around the art rather the art itself. So I'm glad that people exist specifically for that. Like it's an ecosystem and
Yeah.
we need y'all.
It truly is. That is so funny. I feel like how you said, the artist and curator relationship is really important. And artists, what I've learned is that we can have like, cause I said on the title of artist and curator, it's a very like interesting relationship that I have with both of those titles.
Yeah.
But it's like the idea can be so grand and it can be possible, but there is a lot of structure that has to happen around it to make it happen. Like
Yeah.
I work in arts administration as well, and I am a planner down to the T. So it's like in my most recent shows when we first started, I made a spreadsheet for every single dollar that was gonna go out. Like I was like, we have to really plan and understand like where is this gonna go, you know, how much wood is gonna be, how much XYZ is gonna be. And it just allowed us to know what was coming in and coming out and taking stock. I love making sure I'm taking stock of everything that's around me just so I know
Yeah.
what do I have in my pocket, what's in my hand, you know? So yeah, but Lauren Lawrence, guys, amazing, 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 amazing. I love her.
For sure. So while we're on the topic of things that you've made or created, they can actually see some of the work that you partook in at Green Space Miami.
Yes, yes. So the show New Atlantis is on at Green Space Miami. It opened in October and it will close possibly in April, but for right now, we're going to say March. I am a part of an installation of 3. The installation is called Meet Me at the Source, and it was born out of the show called Born, Bred, and Shed in the South. It is my brain baby and something that I love this. I really love this show. I love the process. I love the people. I love the relationships that have been made
Amen.
since. I'm like really starstruck by myself. Every day I look in the mirror and I'm like, who is that girl? Because a year later, it's just like so crazy. Like as we said earlier, the possibilities are honestly endless. And I feel always abundant, never lacking, honestly.
Amen.
Yeah, you know, so it's just like, yeah, but the installation is me, Heaven Jones, Shayla Marshall, and Phil. We're a family, we're artists, we are creatives, and we have a very crazy story behind all of this work. But I can talk a little bit about how Born, Bred, and Shed in the South was created and how it has taken on a life of its own. Essentially, I created the show because I was feeling unfulfilled.
Right.
I work in arts administration, as I said earlier, and it can be a lot of like working in the background, but not actually seeing the art that's made. On an off day, I'll go to a museum maybe, but it's like I am a creative. I've been a creative director officially since 2021. I decided to take that leap on myself. So I was like, I feel like only my left brain is really like being utilized right now, left or right brain, just all analytics and
Yeah.
marketing and planning. But I'm also creative, so it just feels really nice to be able to use my creative side of my brain. And I just looked at my family, and I was just like, actually, I was like, what inspires me the most?
Right.
And it was my family. So I created a show around the things that we shed. So like hair, nails, teeth, and then our family name. My family is really big on family reunions, so that is a part of the installation of the family name. I talk about the expansion and the contraction of the Black family name here in Miami. Um, and then I have grills, which is the teeth section, and that goes to Phil because he is truly a master of his craft. His family invented pull-out grills. His uncle and his family has a business here, which is Lando Grills, Lando Golds. Please check them out. They are
Please.
amazing pioneers here in Miami. And then we have the hair installation, which is Miss Shayla Marshall. Shayla. And she is an amazing sculptress, photographer, historian, archivist, all of the above. And yeah, that's like my sister. So it's just kind of like being able to work with her so closely has been great. And then the nails portion is also me as well. And I talk about the adultification of young Black women and the relationship of matriarchs and their daughters and their granddaughters, and my piece as well too. So it's been a really beautiful show, and it's taken a life of its own. I created a residency around the show, so Shayla was also my inaugural resident, and we worked for 4 months on the show to produce it. And the first show was at my aunt's salon.
Nice.
That was a really beautiful moment. I was able to rent it from her. I've grown up in that salon, got my hair done at the salon, shaved off all my hair in that salon. Slept at that salon, took little naps. It's been in my family since I think 89. So it's just been a really huge part of my life. I've done hair at the salon. So it's just kind of like a really beautiful moment to kind of take it over. And since then, it's been at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center and now at Green Space in 3 different iterations. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. You've
Yeah.
given us a lot. I have multiple segues I want to go with.
Okay.
But before I do that,
So
it's cool if like I paint while we talk.
Of course.
Okay, audience, it's cool if I paint while we talk.
I think they say it, of course, too.
Okay, for sure.
Okay, let's give
Appreciate
it.
y'all.
That's what it's given.
Okay, so let's talk about the adultification of young Black women, because that's the part that you were fleshing out with your part of the project.
Yes,
So I
that
feel like-
and the memorial sites with the family teas. So
Yes.
yeah, I can get into that because actually that's what really started my curiosity and was a big part of the show. And a kind of like a big part of my childhood as well. Go ahead, have at it.
Okay.
Go ham. Go ham.
For sure.
Jed is working, y'all, okay? Commission piece. All right.
Gots to.
Right. This is art therapy, y'all, you know?
100%.
Conversations with friends, you know. But I'm too silly today. But the adultification. Let me get the adultification of young Black women. Here we go. You're right. That theme came about when I was a young girl. I thought about the color red. I wrote about this like on Instagram one day about how my dad told me his favorite color was red, and then I noticed the color red on everything. So one day I was like really young, and I saw my godmom. I was sitting with my godmom, and my godmom today, she's like 86, 87, and so she's an older woman, and she was painting her nails red. And I just like was watching it all because I was like, wow, I know I cannot paint my nails red. My dad made it a point. He said, if you're going to paint your nails, they need to be clear or they need to be pink. And I never really understood that, but I saw my godmom painting it. And while she was painting her nails, she was telling me about growing up in Louisiana, about how she had to pick peppers, about segregation, about all these different things. And even the other day, she was talking about Martin Luther King and like being around during like the March on Washington.
Wow.
And I was like, this is so insane, like white girl, you know. But it was just really beautiful. And while she was talking to me about Louisiana, what was playing on the TV was kind of like horrendous. I still to this day am trying to figure out what we were watching, but it was somewhat similar to like I think a documentary on like Rosewood. So I was getting depictions of slaves running, mass graves happening, lynchings happening, burnings of the cross happening. And that's why she was relaying the story to me, because she was
Right.
telling me about how heavy it was living in Louisiana, and about how blacks and whites, they usually have to just stay in their own parts. And that's like a image that I've had like in my head since. And I was like, wow, so my family were really big Black history buffs and Black radicals. So I've learned a lot about different Black inventors growing up, Black history growing up, who are our intellectuals, activists, and different things like that. So seeing those depictions continued to happen throughout my life. And once I got to college, I learned a lot about myself, and I came into my own womanhood, and it made me reflect on my young girlhood. And around 2021, when I decided to took the leap into being a creative director, I started to think about red nails and the correlation and why my dad told me no red nails. And when I thought it was really regal, in his own way, he was protecting me, because most of the time people see the color red or many other themes and narratives on Black girls, and they say they're too grown, they're too fast.
Right.
And essentially that's just a young girl. You're just young. You're not grown.
You're not even
Baby,
thinking about that.
you just 7 years old wearing red nail polish, and that's okay.
Because that's your favorite
You
color.
know,
So.
because that's my favorite color. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You know, so it's just something that we can't really do too much. It's like you can't do too much as a young Black girl, but and the same on the same spectrum, you have a lot of responsibility. Most of the time, you're taking care of a household. You're being a second mother to siblings or other family members, and it becomes a lot. So your childhood is stripped away from you in so many different ways. So I really wanted to talk about that in my work. So I made a series of 5 different sculptures, um, and they were castings of hands of women in my family. So it goes from the oldest to the youngest. The oldest person is my godmom, which is 86 at the time, and the youngest person is 7, which is my little god sister.
Oh.
And yeah, her name is Jelani. And on Jelani's hands, you have the color, the deepest shade of red, and they're extra long nails. Like it's like a pair of grills on the nails, and gold and red. And then from there, I have another casting of Shayla's hand, another casting of my friend Honey's hand. I have my mom's hand, and I have my godmom's hand. And as each person gets a little bit older, the color of red gets a little bit lighter, and the nails get a little bit shorter. And it talks about how, as Black women age, there are hypersexualized and adultified when really young, but looked at as undesirable as they get older. And as you get older, you also lose a lot of your autonomy. So I wanted to talk about that in that piece. So my mom, she has like the shortest pair of nails. She has some duck nails, and they're also junk nails. And I think about how, like, when I look into her eyes, I see the eyes of like a child and a person that just saw so much of life that they wanted to like partake in, but was still a little bit stunted due to like mental health and having children.
Right.
And my godmom, she has no nails on her cast as well. So it just talks about how she's a little bit more invisible to society. So yeah, that's how I talked about like the adultification of young Black women, and I utilize readings from like Mickey Kendall, from Hood Feminism. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's really real, man. Because like, it's the idea that you don't really get to be a kid, and things are being projected onto you at such a young age
Very much
that like your innocence is being like challenged constantly. It's being taken from you constantly instead of protecting us from it. Well, in a way, like your father saying that to you was an attempt at protection because he understands the world that we live in. But another part of me is like, why couldn't we just preserve that innocence
Right.
longer? Because a lot of it is like the adults looking at this child and like projecting onto them, rather than it is the child doing anything inherently quote unquote grown. And unfortunately, this happens to young Black boys too, not to the same extent, of course, but it's like being a young Black boy, like, and being around a lot of different types of men, like you're immediately like they try to like sex charge your brain
Yes,
a lot.
they do.
And that leads a lot of boys to be confused because it's like it doesn't really teach sex as anything intimate or about a connection or about love, but it is more a thing to achieve, something to conquer and dominate. And we end up growing up in this way where it's like we're seeking affection, but no one has really taught us what affection is. So because we go about it in a very misguided way, we end up losing out on it. We end up creating toxic situations for ourselves. We end up failing so bad that like we decide, all right, well, I'm so terrified of rejection, I'm not even gonna bother trying to achieve this thing. And it leads both genders on a very slippery slope. And it's like our relationship with the opposite gender doesn't even become about connection or community anymore, but it's more like, what can you give to me?
What can I gain?
What can I gain?
Yeah.
What can you provide? What can you make me feel?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's so interesting. I thank you for sharing that, honestly.
For sure.
Because I was thinking about another show that I have in the back of my mind in the work. So anybody out there, do not steal this concept.
Please
but
do not do it.
Please
We
do
gonna
not.
find
Trademarking it.
We gonna find
I
you.
will hunt you down.
Yup.
Yeah. But it's this concept called cattle for sale.
Okay.
And it talks about essentially how we talked about the spectrum of, women and how we're meant to see sex and, how we feel, talk about I really feel like we're kind of made to be like mothers before we know that we even want to be mothers, or wives before we even know we want to be wives. It's like, okay, you need to do this to get a man. And it's really all for the fear. Before it was like, for financial stability, but now it's kind of like out the fear of loneliness because some people are lacking community.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm gonna figure out somebody to love me and hold me down so I can figure out community so I don't be lonely. And then so those are different things that are put onto us, but I through a conversation with Razia, I know Razia was on here at some point too, and we were having a conversation about, okay, those may be things that plague women, and that is the way that we're kind of like cattle, but how is the way a man may be cattle? And it's more of like putting the title of provider on them before they even become like they're boys. Like, you know what I mean? I don't feel like young boys should be providing, not for no family. That's, you have a father. You know what I mean? You have parents. You know what I mean? Community. I feel like young black children should be able to be children. And I wanted to understand from a male from the male aspect, what does that look like through artworks?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's always a form of surveillance because we're looking at each other and we may see what can we gain. And it just, from typically when you look at a cow, which is cattle, it's like you see the meat and you see the milk and you know that that's what you can gain.
Right.
So essentially we're looking at each other as far as like cattle. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to see what that would look like through the eyes of different artists as well too. So surveillance, policing, expectations. What do you feel, and how can you translate that through work?
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like an amazing concept for a show.
Thank you.
And I cannot wait to see it.
Thank you.
Man, I mean, it's the idea that, well, especially just on young people, because all we're doing is emulating the adults around us. Like, a lot of our thoughts as young people are barely even our own. And it's like all the titles that get slapped onto us, right? Like, as you're saying, like a lot of people who are like older siblings, like older sisters, immediately have to be a second mom. You know what I mean? They immediately have to be like a representative of their family name. And it's like, as a young man, like, you don't even understand the titles that they're trying to put on you. Like I work with young men in my church. They're all like 13, 14, 15. And they don't tell me, but I can tell that there's like an identity crisis within them. And like I can relate because I also had that within me as well, where they're just trying to be themselves and fit in, but they don't really know what themselves is yet. Like I have this one kid who like overthinks almost everything that he's about to say. And I'm like, brother, like just speak what is true to you. You know what I mean? And I have another one who struggles to, he doesn't think he struggles with it, but it's like, I see the man, bro. He's like, he struggles to connect with others. Like he's a very quiet kid, but he's also the pastor's son. and he's like in charge of projectors. But it's like if you don't speak to people, they can get the complete wrong impression of you. And it's
That's
like,
very
why
true.
don't you feel the need to do it? Like, are you afraid of rejection? Are you afraid that people are gonna see you some type of way? And the only way you can defeat this is by seeking out that connection. But the way that we're taught to seek out connection isn't always the healthiest. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of mob mentality when you're a young person. There's a lot of like just going with whatever the wave is as a young person. And a lot of the media affects this. I don't want to like take another episode where I'm shaking my fist at social media. You feel me? But
And
like
that's okay.
it does play a part though, because it's like the biggest thing is they're super conscious about how they're going, either they're super conscious about how they're going to be perceived, or do they decide not to care about it at all. And both of which, like, that's a slippery slope on both ways, because it's like sometimes you feel like there's the spotlight effect on you where like your every single action and move is under a microscope, and you don't even feel comfortable moving around in your own skin. You know what I mean? And then there's the opposite side of the spectrum where you are so apathetic to connecting with anybody else or allowing yourself to be open on an emotional level that you decide that you don't need it at all. And that's a fast track to loneliness and isolation. And like humans themselves are incredibly social creatures. So without that ability to connect with others, to have some type of charisma, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'm trying to tell the kid this, but he's like, why you keep on telling me to say hi to people? I don't got to say hi to everyone. I'm like, brother, you don't understand how much is going to help you later on in your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the jobs that I've gotten in my life, I was underqualified for, but because I know how to connect and talk to people, it got me somewhere. A lot of the reason that I have any type of legs in my career right now is because I know how to talk to people. But it's like when you're a younger person, it's like they don't realize how little consequences they have to face in life at that point in their lives. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like all the adults are telling you what to do and how to feel, and they're trying to protect you from danger. But at the same time, the biggest teacher is experience. And I don't want them, like me, myself, like I know I had to learn from experience, and I want to protect them from feeling certain types of hurt. But like, you have to go out there and try stuff because you never know what you'll learn.
I agree. I agree. I don't know. I feel like as a kid, I did feel like I was like Little Miss Know It All
Yeah.
sometime. But I really came into myself. I feel like it just comes with like experience. Because like, how old is he?
He's like 14.
Yeah, I mean, like at 14, it's somebody who's like, well, you're 23, right?
I'm 24 now.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, at like 14, if somebody's 23 coming up to me, I'll be open to listening because you're not like quote unquote old to them or whatever.
They be
but
calling me Unc, bruh.
okay, so you're old to them. Jed is old to them.
Hurts.
And I'm just like an elderly waist to them probably. Me at 26 years old, but I feel like it's all for him. Like, I feel like you just have to plant the seed and let that expand. I feel like he's going to have a moment where, like, that really is going to click for him. But, like, you really can't. Now, I don't think that you beat it into. I feel like you're just kind of encouraging and whatnot. But I feel like he's going to have that moment when it clicks.
Hope
Like,
so.
his own moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that may come sooner rather than later. And that may come way later in his life. But I feel like we're always able to pull back when it's like needed. I feel like I believe in predestiny. I believe in things are already written and known before we even know that they're going to happen.
Right.
So I feel like in his destiny, I really do hope he comes along and like, I feel like that's just self-development, development of self and your self-concept and your own confidence and whatnot. So I feel like that just may be like the stage that he's in because like, I don't know. You just gotta start somewhere.
He gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. I feel like he's at the beginning point, and it may look different from him than what it looks like on you. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes we can't expect ourselves out of others.
Right.
But he's a whole human being with his own whole personality,
Right.
and I think that that's really beautiful. You know, so I'm excited to see what that looks like on him, and how he can take that into the world. You know, so. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like young men and women, I feel like we just bloom in our own time.
100%.
You know, we bloom in our own time. And I feel like that's how it kind of is. Like even with artists, like we really like bloom in our own time. Like I know that you have your residency
Thank
now.
you.
Congratulations on that.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
And I have my show now at Green Space and whatnot. And this has been like a year of seeing what can really happen
Right.
when you put yourself out there.
100%.
You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's really been like kind of really beautiful. I feel like everybody that we are kind of like around or coming up with as far as like South Florida artists has had a moment of exposure, a moment to be seen and a moment to share.
Right.
Because as an artist, it's one thing to like think about things. It's one thing to make things behind closed doors, but it's another thing to have the opportunity to share it.
Yeah.
Like really like put it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter who sees it, but it's like to put it out there, to see it in the space larger than your room or larger than your studio, you know, larger than your car, wherever you paint, like to see it in an actual space hung up either alone or next to a lot of different other artists.
Yeah.
I think it's just really been like a blessing, honestly. So that's why I'm like, I think everything really has its own time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like Shayla and I always talk about how like, and me, Shayla and Phil, we talk about how like this project or these opportunities were really like meant for us. Like
100%.
we grew up on essentially the same street and we didn't even know each other. This has been a year of me knowing Shayla personally, and I think around 2 years of me knowing Phil, and we had no idea about each other than maybe mutuals or one friend away, because that's how it goes in Miami.
Right.
But it's just been like really beautiful, and it's like the stories and the work that we told is something that's so ideally unique to us. Even this piece, this is very ideally unique to you, that somebody had to reach out to you and to say, can you make this? And I want these certain colors, but in your own art style. I just feel like we're just so unique as individuals. So it makes me really happy. It makes me feel really good to be in this era. We always like, I say like this with a few other people, but I'm like, Miami is having its own renaissance. Yeah. Like we're just like in that mode, in that vibe right now. So I think it's like really beautiful. And I just continue to explore. And I know that like, I think, when you introduced me as a creative director and a curator. And like I said, I have a really strange relationship with like holding curator and artist in the same sentence when it comes to me.
Yeah.
Because I think that sometimes looked at as a little bit taboo. People feel that way, but I'm learning to own all the different sides of me and whatnot, because when I thought of Born, Bred, and Shed in the South, I thought about the nails piece, and I also thought about T's piece as like my pieces. Like I knew exactly kind of what I wanted to make from concept. You can conceptualize something,
100%.
but it would not come out the way that, you know, you have to go through like figuring out materials. You have to go through like failing, restarting, and different things like that as well. And mind you, like I said, this is a year of me being an artist in this kind of way. I feel like being a creative director, you take all your ideas and you give it to a person and be like, okay, this is what I want to make, this is what I want to do, and this is how we're going to do it.
Right.
You know, but being an artist and being able to sit down and actually use my hands has been like really beautiful. Like I said, I did mixed media collages and I also do sculptural pieces. So it's been like really amazing to be able to like use my hands, use found materials to create that work. And now having the opportunity to do some additional pieces solo is also very exciting as well too.
100%.
Yeah.
And I love what you're saying about Miami's renaissance, but us like finally like emerging and finding our own spot within it.
Right.
And there's something that I'm coining. I'm about to trademark this, y'all. But the 3 P's to become an artist. First, you got to give yourself permission to create.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I meet a lot of people, and they see my stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I could never do that. I can just draw a stick figure. That's their favorite line. It's like, oh, I can only do stick figures. It should still be live.
Okay, period.
I'll text Phil.
Okay. You know, we gotta.
Just gotta.
It's giving podcast. Just in case, y'all.
Right.
Right. Right. Trademarking.
Hold up.
Right.
I gotta make sure we still live.
Right.
Hold on. Hold.
Maybe in this time I could post.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it given?
Are
we giving Philip?
Philip, where's my boy at, man? I hope we good, y'all.
I think it was just a few
intermission.
Right. I can sing for y'all. I can take you to church.
For sure.
No, I cannot sing. I can only hum, Jed. Please don't.
Yo, Phil. Okay.
Period.
So the MCR dot watch is not. Okay, can you send me the Twitch link? But is it still all being recorded the same? Okay.
Period.
Fire. Fire. All right, for sure. I'll like hand my phone off. Well, shoot, I don't know. Just let me text me the link, please. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Just like haven't noticed the screen behind
It
me.
was only like like 2 seconds before I
Yeah, so we just making sure we good. Oh, okay, thank you. We all good, y'all.
Right. We're
This
here.
this is recorded now. Forget the lie. Honestly, everybody's gonna be looking at this as like a recording, anyways, man.
Yeah.
Like we be getting a few little live viewers, but you feel me? Like it's nice that it is archived and can live on the
Yes. In
internet
the
forever.
archive.
100%. So yeah, back to the three P's. First is permission, because people love not thinking that they're capable of being an artist. They really have very self-limiting beliefs as far as what it is they can or cannot do. But the biggest thing is you got to give yourself the opportunity to try, right? Because it's like I am only a painter because I randomly got the urge to just pick up some paint markers and a canvas and make something happen. You are only a creative director and artist and curator because you're like, you know what? I could do that. You feel me?
Essentially.
You ain't know exactly how you was gonna figure it out, but you did. And that takes us to number two, persistence. Because when you start creating, it's not going to go how you want it to go at first. It's going to be incredibly frustrating because you're learning how to express yourself.
And is.
Yeah, bro. And it's like my first painting, or my first like real painting on my own. I had to paint for as long as I had the patience for. And as soon as I got frustrated and pissed off, I would just walk away from it and come back whenever I had patience again. And sometimes that would be a few days, sometimes that'd be a few weeks. But I'm like, listen, I'm going to come back to this when I have the energy for it. And even when you continue to create, you continue to have more works and you continue to evolve as an artist, you still have to have patience because that takes you to the third P, persistence, right? Because you really never know who's seeing your work and you really never know how much your own creativity is compounding on itself. You know what I mean? Like, had I stopped at painting number three and had I not persisted, had I not reached out to the people at MCR when they were doing their residency application, had I never like started putting my stuff out there on walls, even if like only a few people saw it. Had I not persisted, I wouldn't be able to achieve the things that I have now. And that goes for you too. Had you not been persistent in what you had as far as ideas, as far as subject, as far as concepts, you wouldn't be able to be an emerging creative right now.
Yeah. My life would be so different. I would really be stuck in the mundane. Honestly, thank you for the three P's. That's a little mic drop.
Yes,
right
sir.
there. That's a little mic drop. I agree. I feel like my first piece, I guess, is pretty large. It's like the length of this table. And it's hanging up right now in green space, which is like crazy that my first, I guess, like collage, physical collage.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a big planner. So I like plan my pieces. I need to see them out because I'm a writer. So my background is in like journalistic writing and PR. So it's like I love to write. I love to write poems. My poem that is collaged into one of my pieces, I wrote it a year before I even created the piece. And then I created the piece around that poem. And it's called like First Sunday with the Joneses. But in my first collage piece, I have around like 1,500 red acrylic nails on on that piece. Yeah.
That
So,
moment really stuck with you, huh?
yes, it really did. It was something that I really could not shake. Because like even like when I think about my grandmother, she's still with us. I just always think about how she took the time to paint her nails, like sitting in her room. And every single time I go to my grandma's house, she gifts me nails. Even the last time, now she's in her nursing home, but the last time I went to her house and she was able to like really chat, she gifted me. She didn't even know anything about the show. She gifted me like 6 red nail polishes, and that was just the most randomest thing I've ever experienced because now I'm really making this piece around red acrylic nails, and it has her imagery on it. It has her holding me the day I was born. It has imagery of my mother photographed when she was in the Navy at like around like 20, and has an image of me cheerleading, and all of us in the photos we all are having red. We all have like red lipstick on and stuff like that too. And I thought it was like really interesting the color red and how it can mean good fortune
Yeah.
and like in China and Japan and different things like that. But then for us, it can either mean regality or it can mean adultification. Like
Yeah,
it
like
means like limitation, yes,
seduction.
seduction, and different things like that as well too. So I just think about, for me, it just reminds me of like royalty and good fortune. Like for a long time, even like right now, I wear red either on my toes or on my hands because I always want to step or collect good fortune and abundance. So that's something that I continuously do in my life. But yeah, in regards to like that moment with my godmom, that really forever like stuck with me. And recently, I'm not 100% sure. I really do think that that was a movie about Rosewood or some additional boycotts or moments that were happening. But just yesterday, I went to Rosewood, so
Yep.
I was just like, yeah, I'm a Black History tour guide with Dr. Marvin Dunn, and I went on my first viewing tour, and I was able to go to 5 cemeteries and a mass grave that's unmarked, and a lynching tree in Live Oak. And I was just kind of like, these are moments that have once existed with so much bloodshed and harm. And that's when I think about the color red. It's just the color red shows up. I think about the American flag and how in most of the flags, the color red is representing the bloodshed. So I think about just what does that mean? You know what
Right.
I mean? I think about what does it mean in my life or the lives of others. I don't know. My family's very interesting, and the way I've been able to like grow up and like imagine things and learn about things has also been very interesting too. So I think about that and death a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. That's very layered. I wanted to talk more about like Rosewood and also like the censorship of Black history that we're,
Yeah.
because it's like it seems like this country is trying to like yada yada, like, oh well, it happened, bruh, you feel me, we let's move on.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing about Black history, even though it lasted 400 years, but it's like it's never forget 9/11.
Right.
You feel me?
They gonna make you remember the Holocaust Museum. They they
100%.
they they're gonna let you know
100%.
that the Holocaust happened,
Because
and it did.
it did, and there are all tragedies that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
But the idea that Black history and its 400, well, Black history is beyond the 400 years of slavery.
Yeah.
There's a whole like pre-slavery and
You
post-slavery,
know. You know.
and the fact that such an integral part of American history is so condensed is very interesting to me because it's the idea that the whole core that they're trying to censor it is because they don't like thinking about things that make them uncomfortable,
Right.
right? But the lack of education on the subject allows us to perpetuate more things and do harm just through pure ignorance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like to be ignorant is not to be hateful, but it's to simply not know. But to perpetuate ignorance is to stop other people from knowing, which
Exactly.
is incredibly harmful. Like for me in Black history, I had to go out my way to learn a lot, and I think that's the case for a lot of us because it's like school really isn't going to give it to you. For those of you who are interested, y'all remember Crash Course History, like
On
being in
YouTube.
school, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a Crash Course of Black History that goes all the way from pre-slavery all the way to Obama era, and it actually taught me a lot about how interconnected American history and Black history really is
Mhm.
because it's like everything that was going on within the black community had a ripple effect on the entire U.S. structure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like I really appreciate artists who are able to pay
Homage.
homage, right, and also archive and also educate through their artwork because it's conversations that need to happen. We're not saying like white people feel guilty forever, right? Because you ain't enslaved nobody, but like you should know
You
that
should
it
feel guilty.
happened. You should, bro. I mean, but it's like they ain't do it though. Like there's the idea that white guilt needs to happen, but it's like where does the guilt take us? I feel like we need more awareness
Mm-hmm.
that these things happen because you can't be like a white dude and you love history but you don't like talk about black history. Like how that makes sense?
That's crazy.
You know about the whole Renaissance era, you know about the Black Plague, all that stuff, but it's like when it comes to black history, it's like, you feel me? Like, hey, we don't really need all that.
Right.
That's nuts. I think we need a better curriculum when it comes to that. I think that the administration needs to stop attacking black history as a whole.
Yeah.
Because it's like the point. What is the point of the censorship if it is not simply to erase history?
Yeah. It's erasure. That's the main goal.
Yeah.
It's really erasure. Like I said, like in Rosewood, you can really go there, and depending on who you are, you may or may not know what happened. But essentially, it was like a place where it was like, really well structured place. Black Wall Street was there, as well. I think it was either Greenwood or Rosewood, but it all like kind of came about. So many individuals, women, children, men lost their lives due to a lie that was told by a young woman. She said that a black man came in and beat her. But all the while she was cheating on her husband, and it was a white man who she was sleeping with, actually beat her. And from there, it created a ripple effect of lynchings that took place, burning of buildings and homes, um, capturing women and children, murdering them, lynching them, throwing their bodies into mass graves. Um, and they don't want to teach that in schools due to DeSantis. They don't want to teach that in schools and Trump. And it's really sad because even on the tours with Dr. Dunn, a lot of individuals were kind of sad about how they live in Miami. They're like Florida born and raised, and about how they don't even know that these places exist.
Right.
People go, they get married on plantations, they get married on these lands. They get married under lynching trees, and it's like a typical like day in the life for them. But for us, these are people that are part of our ancestry.
Right.
So it's like all the time. I don't believe that white people should always feel guilty, but I do feel like bloodshed is something that can be passed down, and I really do feel like all the time when we're walking on this ground, we're walking on earth, and we don't own anything. But I think about that there are people that coexist or exist their lives. They're in mass graves beneath us. Like this is land that we do not own at
Right.
all. I think about how I've recently learned that like we were here during the time of like the Indians in like the 1500s. We were also came over with Ponce de Leon, and we were not always slaves here in Miami. Most of the time, people picked up like Catholicism because underneath the Catholic eye, one Catholic couldn't enslave another Catholic, so a lot of
Yeah.
people, decided to be Catholic, and they were free and whatnot. So I just think about how times have changed and how maybe in like 10, 15, 30 years from now, people won't know this information unless it's up to us to continue to like share it
Yeah.
and really push for it to be taught. But even teachers and professors were on that trip with us yesterday, and they were saying that their hands are tied. Like they cannot talk about that in their curriculum at all. So they have to go and, intake all this information. But they were like, it's really up to you guys to share this information because our hands are truly tied.
Wow.
Our jobs will be on the line and we will get fired. And that's a part of like, it's like fear mongering. They want you to erase history so you can keep your life and your lifestyle that you can barely afford.
Right.
But that's a conversation for another day, another time, another day, another time.
Right. And it's like I want to ask you, like, what do you think the point of them deciding to erase history, deciding to censor history is? What do you think that they're trying to achieve?
Mm. I mean, hmm. I wouldn't say that's a loaded question, because like how I always go back and I always say like I believe in like predestiny, and I believe that even like how this is like set up for us right now, like yes, we are all able to coexist and whatnot, but there is still an invisible totem pole that is here as far as like black people being the majority. We used to be the minority. And I would just say the story really quick. As I said, I come from like a family of a few like black radicals and activists, different things like that. And my brother, he taught me about the totem pole. And I was like, okay, like what's the totem pole? And he was like, it's just how people view us on a range. And it says it goes from like I think black men to black women to white woman to white man. And that's like kind of
Black
like
women over black men?
it can be interchangeable. You
Right.
know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's like usually black men, and how can I say this? It was the conversation with like James Baldwin and like Nikki Giovanni and different things like that, and about how Nikki Giovanni was talking about when black men they can go to work and they take the brunt of everything, and then they come and they kind of bring it to us as black women. And I think about because I wouldn't say like it's not how people. It's kind of like the totem pole of like a lot of people see like black men as just cattle. You know what I mean? They see black women as cattle as well too, but it's just how they see us in different things. Like that's like
Yeah.
the totem pole and the structure. Anybody can debate me on that. I don't mind.
Yeah.
How whatever. But it's just about how people are treated here in the U.S. The
Yeah.
unfairness and stuff like that as well. I like know the fact of like black women are like the most educated group of individuals, like I think in the U.S. or something like that, or like the most agreed or whatever. But I do think about men, like black men, and the limitations placed on them. So that's why I would believe that they're at the bottom of how the totem pole sees us
Right.
and stuff too. But I don't know.
No, but it's like I also see that perspective because like black men are also like perceived as a threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the average person isn't gonna be like intimidated by a black woman compared to a black man.
Exactly.
And real quick, for like just to preface this, Heaven isn't the type of person that wants to think about race relations all the time. Like I don't want y'all to think that people like us like always think about race because we want to. And it's like we're victimizing ourselves. Nah, like this is just part of the reality that we exist.
This is our
within,
history.
right? And there's 400 years of context that some people are missing.
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about it, then it becomes something that it's like internalized and even more confusing for the people that are to come. You know what I mean? Like the only reason that Heaven's like this is because she had people in her family that are black that had very strong experiences that wanted to prepare her for it.
Right.
That makes her more aware of it and also is trying to assist and create art about it. You feel me? Because it's like just like we have to preserve the histories of Native American people, Latino people, white people. We got to preserve the history of black people too, because all of it fits into this great cultural mosaic that we have. And the more context we have for each other, the more that we can coexist. Because like Floridian history in itself isn't talked about enough. Like in the scale of like the formation of the United States, because it's like it's the 13 original colonies, and it stops. And it's like you know about Georgia coming in, but it's like you really don't know what Florida has going on. Like
Yeah.
with what was it, the Spanish that came here,
Yeah, the Spanish.
and how they interacted with the Native Americans. Like
Yes.
I myself need to go check that out because it's not taught, and it bothers me how there is like a curriculum for the entire country or the entire state, but it's like it's not proportional to what the people of that local area should be educated on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think about race relations all the time, but only because I am up and coming historian and archivist. So I think about
Okay.
Black history all the time. That's why I'm a tour guide, you guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is information I think about. I don't hold on to it. I don't let it taint my heart in my interactions with individuals. But I love to absorb knowledge as well. My focus my work outside of like the nails is a lot on like death rituals in the South. So that focuses on people who are laid to rest here. And what did that look like? You know, as Jed knows, I'm a spiritual person, also very Christian. So I intertwine those things into my works as an individual. But yeah, I really do focus on the living and the dead and what does that look like.
Right.
During my residency that I did have with Shayla, I was at my family's building, and now the building that I own is being turned into a funeral home. So death is like something that I think about all the time, but not in a way that it's more heavy, but in a way that is very beautiful. I think about my ancestors a lot. I think about my loved ones that have left. I've seen my loved ones transition. I was able to pray
Yeah.
over them and see them and write about it in real time as people were able to come in and experience viewing my grandmother that has passed on's body. So these are different things that I'm not going to say pique my interest, but something that I think should be talked about in different mediums.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I think about these things and talk about these things. This
For
is
sure.
my interest, you guys. This is my interest.
Yeah. Man. Nah, but for real, like, cause on the topic of mortality, like,
Yeah.
cause like everybody has that one death when they were young that really just changed their perspective of life as a whole. And I think we have more conversations about death that aren't like inherently morbid.
Yeah.
Because like I remember being a kid and being completely unprepared for like my grandfather's death. And then even more so for my grandmother's death, because like as a kid, like that is like game shaking. Like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna see this person again. And like open casket funerals, like, oh my gosh, are quite traumatizing, because it's like, bro, like this is the vessel that contained the soul of my loved one, and it's because it's like it doesn't even look like them anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With all like the mortuary makeup and like whatever haircuts. You ever seen like a
The
dead person with
wigs.
no haircut, bro? Like,
Yeah.
real, like, quick segue. Whoever is cutting their hair, bro, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Like, if you a deaf
Family
barber.
members come and do that
The
sometimes
family
too.
members?
Yeah. My cousin, he's a barber, and he did like my grandmother's hair. He's also like esthetician and stuff. So he did my grandmother's hair. Family members come, they do their nails and different things like that. Like that is like a form of like ancestor veneration, you guys. Just being able to pay homage and tend to your ancestors while they're here in life and in death is something that is very beautiful. And if you can ever stomach it, I really do think that that is a very like life changing moment.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, but it is a very hard moment as well. I have not been able to do that, but I've been able to write as I witness it.
Right. Man, it's like the idea of just trying to honor the ones that came before us. It feels like such a heavy weight to bear sometimes, because like you got to keep on living for you. But it's like the idea that how much they cared for you and loved you, and it's the idea that that love has outlived them. You know, and I think that's the beautiful thing. There's this saying that you don't really die until like you're completely forgotten. And like that's the point of legacy, you know what I mean? Like, how will you be remembered? Like, what impact did you leave on this earth before you go? Like, I think about my mortality quite often, especially when I was a kid, bro. Like
Yeah.
after experiencing that, um, but we just gotta focus on what we can do while we're here, man. Like, as long as
Exactly.
you're just treating everybody with as much love and respect, while also like honoring yourself and your own needs and your own boundaries. I think that's the best way to do it, bro. Because it's like my goal really is to leave so much love on this earth that like it spans generations. You know what I mean? Like that's what I saw my dad do, like with the church that he founded. You know what I mean? And bro, like the idea that we share like as Christians is like death is not the end. So it's like it ain't the end of the world per se. But finding peace in the fact that like you will move on, and also like your loved ones will move on, and it hurts deeply, because like you just want to see them smile one more time, like what we would give to just have one more conversation with our past loved ones.
I agree. And that's why ancestor veneration comes into play.
What is ancestor veneration? What is that?
It's really like taking your time. Some people build altars. You don't always have to build altars. And you pray, but you can pray only to one God, of course. But it's like essentially a conversation that you can have. It's a way to memorialize the individuals that you've loved. Most of the times, like say, like in black homes, our families have like walls full of imagery of like family members that passed, or like even Clarence, Uncle Clarence, he had a whole show with like when you walk into the door, you open it and it's like his family photo albums, and I'm like, although it may be me, him, and Lauren in the room, there's so many other individuals here because there are individuals that have passed, but collecting these photos, holding on to the memories, and making sure not only you know their names, but others know their names is something that's very important.
Right.
Right. Right.
Totally. Hello. It's okay.
It's all right. You're purple.
We need to get a sign.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting.
like
And
the
it's
main
like,
festival.
man, the idea of the family photo album is something that's becoming lost to
It's
time.
art. It's archive.
Yeah, because it's like with the digital age, it's like, oh, I just got a whole bunch of pictures on my phone. But it's like being a kid and it's like flipping through that album. Like it was a very deep feeling, like being
Yeah.
able to see my parents in the context of actually not being old. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are whole people with entire stories and entire backgrounds that led them to the point to where we know them. And if you got older folks still in your life, like if your parents are still around, if your uncles, grandmama are still around, I feel like you should really just ask them about their stories, man.
Yeah.
Like I know some of my parents, like they kind of ramble a little bit, but you gotta give them that space because it's like there will be a time where you can no longer ask them that question.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also beautiful to be able to get context on your deceased loved ones from the perspective of other people that knew them a lot longer than you.
I agree. Yeah. Wow. I know that we're gonna wrap up in like 2 minutes. I think.
Something like that.
Like 2 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But I agree. I feel like look over and tell your neighbor that you love them. You know what I mean?
Bro, tell somebody that you
Tell
love them, bro.
somebody
Life
that
is
you
way too
love
short,
them.
bro.
You know what I mean? Go outside,
Go.
create, touch some grass, meet a friend, have a conversation on a couch
100%.
with Philip in the room.
Philip in the
With
mix,
the Philip in the room.
Bro, we always shout out Philip. Philip is never like on camera, bro.
You know what I
He
mean?
just be in the back.
Philip in his chanclas. You know what I mean?
You feel me? Shout out Philip, bro. It wouldn't be possible
We
without
appreciate you.
representation,
you held
bro.
it down. Got the Twitch going, okay?
You feel me?
You know?
Bruh, but it's
Yeah.
like, honestly, like, life is way too short to not be out here spreading love, to
Yeah.
not be out here connecting with people and furthering your understanding on yourself
I
and the
agree.
world around you, bro. Like, bro, we could die tomorrow. Every day at church when I see them, I'm like, bro, tomorrow is not promised you. Make the most out of it today. Do not live a life that you can regret. Do not make choices that you can't regret because you cannot take them back sometimes, bro.
Yeah.
And people remember more how you feel more than how you made them feel more than what you said. Like, bro, me and Heaven have had multiple conversations. My memory is garbage. I don't remember what we talked about. That's my dog, though. I trust this woman. You feel me?
It's a lot of good conversations
100%.
that have happened in like less than a year.
Bro, our friendship is maybe 6 months.
Yeah,
maximum.
6 months strong.
You
6
feel
months
me?
strong, you know?
But it's like you never know when you're about to make a new friendship like that.
Yeah.
The valuable power of touching grass, y'all. And going into spaces
getting
that
outside.
interest you, bro. Because it's like you may want to be something you couldn't even conceive of, but all you do is go to work and you go home.
You got to get outside. And like how you told the little boy that works in the projectors, you got to say hello.
Say hello.
The power of saying hi.
You lose nothing.
Yeah.
They might, like, they'll either like, hi, or they might just be like,
Okay.
all right,
You know.
was good. But it's like there's much more to be gained than there
Yeah.
is to be lost in that. So I'm telling you, just go out there and just express yourself, bruh.
Yeah.
Life is too short to not be out here being expressive, bro. For
agree.
real. Whether it's you creating art, if you're not a creative person, I think everybody can be a creative person.
Think so,
We are
too.
talking about the 3 Ps. But regardless, bro, find something that is your niche. Explore things because you won't be able to find what is your niche without just trying new things randomly.
Mm-hmm.
But most of all, be yourself. There's only one you.
Only one you.
There's only one you. and we appreciate that for who it is.
Yeah.
And the world is a better place with you in it. For real.
I agree. Hey, but I don't know. Do I do like a little sign off?
Yeah, do a little sound off. Shout out a whole bunch of people, bro. Shout out the whole crib.
Okay. Right. The whole 305, actually, you know. Right. And, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We got you in the building.
Do your thing. Yeah.
But no, thank you so much, Jed, for having me on tonight with Miami Community Radio. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Philip, for holding us down. Really appreciate you. And I really enjoyed being able to speak freely. Usually, like the way that I talk on panels is very like constricted,
very formal,
so very formal, very regal, you guys. But I was able to speak freely, and I think that that's really nice. I always love being in community with Jed, so you guys have such a gem here with you. So tap in and tune in. But yes, my name is Heaven Jones. I am an artist first. I am a curator second, and a creative director in my entirety. So third and the entirety.
For sure.
But my Instagram is at Frank Ocean's Mum. So you can find me there.
MUM.
You can find my residency space at fem.continuum.
Yup.
You can find my show at Green Space Miami on Biscayne. Shout out Kimberly Green and the whole Green Space team. Shout out Shayla at Shay Moni, and shout out Phil at Philovian, Philovane.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you to my city. I would not be who I am without the experiences of being here, living here, being a Florida girl, being a girl from the crib, from Miami. And I think it's really beautiful. And as I would say, shout out to my ancestors and my spiritual team. I really do appreciate you holding me down.
Yeah.
As well as God. Thank you.
Amen. Shout out to God.
Me. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's
Jesus
the one.
Is the one. He's the one.
We're too silly on this couch today.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, we're silly. I like this. This is fun.
We cutting up. But yeah, bro. Shout out everybody. Shout out the crib. Shout out Rezia Hayes. Shout out Alex from Boss Magazine.
Shout out Chris Jesuit Topher. We got shout out Sheesh, Constant Sheesh.
Bro, where's Sheesh at, bro? Shout out Sheesh.
Shout out Sheesh. Shout out Arsimmer.
McCoy. She about to be our next guest, by the way. Arsimmer McCoy. Y'all tap in for that.
Yeah, Arsimmer.
Yeah.
That's my sister.
Man, shout out Lauren. Yeah. Lauren, shout out Uncle Clarence.
Shout out Clarence.
Real quick, shout out Burgundy.
Okay, Akeem.
Akeem and Oliver. Shout out. Shout out Miami as a whole. Roscoe Thick, Mark Delmont. Shout out my boy Reginald O'Neal.
Reggie.
You feel me?
Shout out Margot Hanna.
Yeah. Oh, y'all boys go to the Mondi Gallery, black-owned gallery. You feel me? Go support and buy black art. Shout out Latin art. Shout out white art. I love y'all too. You feel me? Shout out Desi Swoop. You feel me? Afro-Latina artist. Amazing work. Shout out all the curators. Shout out everybody named Philip. You feel me?
Right.
Hey, bro, if you got melanin or not, bro, God bless you. You feel me?
You.
Like, you're great. I'm so happy that you exist. Be yourself. That's all the shout-outs I got. Clip empty. All right, play the outro track. Yeah, made by Shan Marino. Stream him on Spotify. Shout out everybody from Broward. Shout out Alex. Shout out Josh. Shout out Marvin. Zoe. Cheyenne. Shout out everybody from Piper High School. Shout out Jed-Lee. Shout out Jesus.
Shout out Jesus.
Shout out Jesus.
Shout out Jesus.
Shout out Jesus. Shout out Jesus.
Hey. Shout out Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey. Whoa. Yeah.
Thank you. Bro, this
Time was had.
Time was
Time was had.
Damn. Bruh. You my dog. You know that.
You my dog. I had a great time. It's fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.